You raised your hands in dua. You begged Allah, Ya Allah, if this person isn't written for me, take them out of my heart. You whispered it quietly, in the silence of the night, half crying, half surrendering, fully broken. And yet, they're still there. They linger in your thoughts as you sit for Fajr. They appear in your dreams, when you least expect. And sometimes, even during your deepest moments of tahajjud, when it's just you and Allah, they return, not in words, not in visions, but in that heavy, stubborn feeling sitting deep inside your chest. The heaviness that refuses to leave. Now you're left wondering, is this a sign? Is Allah trying to speak to my heart through these feelings? But let's be completely honest. My brother, my sister, this is where it becomes dangerous. Because not every lingering emotion is sacred. Not every deep feeling comes from Allah. Sometimes your nafs wraps itself in spiritual clothing. Sometimes shaitan whispers in soft, sweet signs. And sometimes your heart clings, not because Allah is guiding it, but because you've turned this person into your emotional qibla. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you came here looking for a feel-good video that tells you exactly what you want to hear, this isn't it. But if you've ever been caught in that confusing space, between hope and obsession, sincerity and self-deception, dua and emotional desperation, stay. Because what we're about to discuss might just save you from calling a test your soulmate. I know exactly how this feels. You're trying your hardest to stay within Allah's boundaries. You've made sincere dua. You've prayed istikhara. You've begged repeatedly, Ya Allah, if they're not meant for me, please remove them from my heart. And yet they remain in your mind, in your dreams. In your chest. Their presence feels so real, so persistent, that it seems impossible not to believe that it means something. You start thinking, if this was wrong, wouldn't Allah have already taken them away from me? Why does my heart keep guiding me back to them? But here's the part nobody talks about enough. Your heart is not always reliable. It doesn't always speak the truth. Your heart is a battlefield between what you want and what Allah wants for you, between reality and illusion, between sincere guidance and Shaitan's whispers, dressed up so beautifully that you can no longer recognize them. Shaitan doesn't always attack through fear or blatant sin. Sometimes he whispers through feelings that seem pure, comforting, even spiritual. He knows you won't question something that feels right. Something you desperately want to believe is a sign from Allah, and Allah warns us directly. In the Quran, have you seen the one who takes his own desires as his God? Surah Al-Jathi. Ask yourself this difficult question. Have I elevated my emotions so high that they've become my guide, even when they conflict with what Allah has already revealed? Your feelings might be strong. They may feel sincere, even overwhelming, but that doesn't automatically make them right. The heart is like a mirror. When it's clean, it reflects truth. When it's clouded by loneliness, trauma, sins, or deep longing, it distorts reality. You may not be seeing signs. You may simply be seeing what you desperately want to see. That's why Allah didn't leave guidance to feelings alone. He gave us His book, His boundaries, the teachings of Rasulullah, logic and clarity so our hearts wouldn't lead us blindly down painful paths. Your heart isn't proof. It's a place of constant struggle. And that's exactly why you need to continuously reconnect it with Allah to ensure it stays pure. Not just emotionally comfortable, before you trust your heart's guidance blindly. Pause and ask, is this truly Allah guiding me? Or am I guiding myself towards something I've already decided I want? When your heart desperately wants something, every coincidence starts to feel like a sign. You see their name everywhere. You bump into their posts at the perfect time. You have vivid dreams about them. You start convincing yourself, this can't just be chance. This has to be guidance from Allah. Am I really seeing all the signs? Or am I only noticing the ones that perfectly fit what I already want to happen? You're quick to catch the dream that feels beautiful and comforting, the message that arrives at the perfect time, the random coincidence that seems too perfect to be accidental, but at the same time, you overlook how their behavior is quietly pulling you further away from Allah. You see the perfectly timed conversations, but you ignore how their lifestyle and character directly clash with your faith and your values. Allah sends His signs clearly. And his true signs will never contradict his guidelines, but you keep rationalizing, maybe they'll change. Maybe Allah wants me to help bring them closer to Islam. But stop, be brutally honest with yourself. Am I pulling them toward Allah? Or are they slowly pulling me away? The Prophet Muhammad gave us a crystal clear and practical standard. If someone whose deen and character pleases you proposes marriage, accept it. Otherwise, there will be trials and corruption. Hadith, Tirmidhi. Notice carefully what he didn't say. If you see them often in your dreams, if their name keeps appearing at the perfect time, if you feel deeply attached to them, he simply said, whose deen and character please you. Right now, you may be exchanging clear Islamic standards for emotional comfort. You're clinging to vague, subjective signs, while ignoring the very obvious warnings that Allah keeps placing right in front of your eyes. Here's something deeply important to understand. When Allah truly guides your heart towards someone, you will never have to ignore your moral silence, your conscience compromise. Your values the path towards someone that's truly right for you will never be paved with red flags disguised as signs. It will feel clear, consistent, and fully aligned with your principles. So before you call something a divine sign, pause and look again. Am I cherry-picking only what comforts me, while conveniently ignoring what clearly hurts me? Because sometimes the real sign isn't what appears in your dreams, it's what Allah has already placed right in front of your eyes, begging you to wake up before it's too late. And I completely understand how confusing this gets, especially after you've already invested so much emotional energy into someone. Your heart doesn't want to accept that it may be wrong. So it desperately clings to every tiny sign, every coincidence, turning them into proof from Allah. You keep telling yourself, because my feelings are sincere, it must mean something special. But here's the hard truth. Sincerity isn't proof of correctness. Your sincerity doesn't automatically make something halal. Real signs from Allah will always align with Islam. Strengthen your faith. Never drag you into gray areas. Never leave you spiritually empty or guilty after every interaction. They won't leave you lying awake at night, questioning your own connection with Allah. And let's be honest, deep down, you already know when something feels wrong. You feel it when you walk that thin line between halal and haram, when you keep trying to justify questionable interactions simply because of strong emotions. You've likely even whispered to yourself, if this was really from Allah, why am I feeling so spiritually drained and anxious? Listen carefully to the beautiful words of Allah, words meant exactly for moments like this. And whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out, and He will provide for him from where he does not expect. Surah At-Talaq. When you fear Allah first, when you place your deen above your desires, He promises clarity, ease, and unexpected provision. Ask yourself sincerely right now, is this situation drawing me closer to Allah, or is it dragging me deeper into emotional chaos? Because if it's truly from Allah, it will never pull you away from Him. It won't feel like a battle against your own soul, leave you spiritually exhausted after every conversation, fill you with guilt and anxiety after every interaction. Real love, guided by Allah, never demands you sacrifice your self-respect, your morals, or your peace. The Prophet Muhammad beautifully reminded us, you will never give up something for the sake of Allah, except that He replaces it with something far better. Hadith of So ask yourself with complete honesty, if I had to choose right now between pleasing Allah or pleasing this person, who would I choose? If the answer isn't Allah, then this is not a sign. It's a warning. If I had to choose right now between pleasing Allah or pleasing this person, who would I choose? Because if Allah isn't your answer, this isn't a sign. It's a warning. Real signs aren't sent just to fulfill your desires. They're meant to fulfill your purpose. And your purpose will always be bigger than one person's temporary presence in your life. Let's talk about something nobody openly admits, especially in our university culture: the silent emotional attachments that quietly form during classes and group projects, through casual conversations or late-night texts. You meet someone, maybe through a mutual friend, and suddenly something feels different. At first it seems harmless. You notice how they speak, how they smile, how they joke. Your heart jumps slightly every time they walk into class. You convince yourself, I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just innocent. But slowly it grows. Now they're stuck in your mind during lectures. You start checking their Instagram a little too often. Their presence in your heart grows. Heavier dot before you realize you're emotionally invested, waiting anxiously for any small sign that they might feel the same. And here's where it gets dangerous. You start wrapping your emotions in spiritual language. You whisper to yourself, maybe Allah placed these feelings in my heart for a reason. Why else would He keep them in my thoughts if they weren't meant for me? Suddenly, every little moment becomes a sign in your eyes. But what's really happening is far more dangerous. You're not seeing spiritual guidance. You're confusing emotional urgency with divine signs. Your heart races, not because this person is your destiny, but because you've emotionally attached yourself, deeply and urgently. You've turned a simple crush into an obsession, dressing it up with words like soulmate, destiny, written by Allah, but Allah gives us a powerful reminder in the Quran for moments like this. Perhaps you dislike something which is good for you, and perhaps you love something which is bad for you. Allah knows and you do not know. Surah Al-Baqarah. Ask yourself sincerely, if this attachment was truly spiritual, wouldn't it strengthen my faith instead of draining my energy? Wouldn't it bring me peace instead of making me anxious and distracted from Salah? Wouldn't it feel dignified, not chaotic and shameful? Real guidance from Allah never comes disguised as emotional turmoil. It comes with clarity, peace, certainty, and reality. This urgency you feel might not be spiritual at all. It may simply be loneliness, insecurity, or the desperate desire for validation, and these are the exact weaknesses that Shaitan loves to exploit, especially among young people trying their hardest to stay close to their Deen. The Prophet Muhammad warned us so beautifully. Deliberation is from Allah, and haste is from Shaitan. Hadith Tirmidhi. This urge you feel, this rush, to call every strong emotion destiny, is precisely how Shaitan traps hearts. So the next time your heart races, pause. Reflect deeply. Am I truly seeing divine signs? Or is my loneliness simply screaming louder than Allah's guidance? Because if something is truly meant for you, it will never compromise your peace. Demand, anxiety, force, secrecy rush ahead of Allah's perfect timing. True guidance unfolds naturally without obsession or urgency. Let's get brutally honest about something you've probably thought, even if you haven't said it aloud. If this is really from Allah, then why do I feel like I have to hide it? Why does every conversation leave you feeling guilty? Why are you constantly afraid of being seen or caught? You may justify it by saying, we're not doing anything haram. It's just conversations. What's the harm? But deep inside, something is wrong. You sense it. Every time you pray and lose focus, every time your Quran feels distant, every time your heart feels numb when even maintaining basic ibadah becomes a struggle. Here's the raw, unfiltered truth. Something truly from Allah never requires sin, secrecy, or compromise. Real, divinely guided relationships are not built in the shadows, do not require secret conversations, do not force you to delete text, do not make you justify small sins as harmless if you constantly fear being exposed, justify small lies, feel spiritually drained after every interaction. You already have your answer. This isn't guidance. It's a trap you willingly walked into. Ask yourself deeply, why would Allah guide me towards someone pulling me further away from Him? Why would something pure ever demand secrecy and guilt as its foundation? Allah makes it perfectly clear in the Quran. Good women are for good men, and good men are for good women. Surah An-Nur. He didn't say, secretive women are for secretive men. Sinful relationships lead to blessed marriages. Goodness only attracts and aligns with goodness. Allah never said, secretive women are for secretive men. Sinful relationships somehow lead to blessed marriages. Goodness only attracts and aligns with goodness. So ask yourself honestly, can a relationship built on secrecy, emotional chaos, and spiritual confusion ever lead to true goodness? In our modern culture, especially in university or school settings, these quiet relationships are often normalized. Your friends might encourage you, it's harmless. You need to explore your feelings. Everyone goes through this. But when you're alone, behind closed doors, when you're truly honest with yourself, you know something is off. Because real love, the kind Allah gently places in your heart, is peaceful. It doesn't strip away your dignity, drain your faith, force you to lie or hide, fill you with guilt, regret, or constant anxiety. If your connection causes more spiritual pain than peace, it's not love. It's emotional dependency. It's desire, disguised as divine destiny. The Prophet Muhammad taught us something so simple and so profound. Leave that which causes you doubt for that which does not cause you doubt. Hadith, Tirmidhi. If your connection constantly fills your heart with doubt, causes ongoing anxiety, leaves your soul in spiritual unrest, you already have your answer. Allah would never guide you toward a path that compromises your spirituality. His path is always clear, dignified, spiritually uplifting, and full of peace. Now, let's go even deeper. How many times have you told yourself, "It feels so right. It's too strong to be wrong"? But why then does it always lead you to spiritual compromise? Why does your emotional attachment overshadow your salah, distract you from Quran, blur your clarity with Allah? True guidance from Allah will always strengthen your spirituality, not drain it. Will make your prayers sweeter, not heavier. Will remind you of Allah, not distract you from Him. Will fortify your Deen, not leave you constantly repenting for crossing boundaries. Let's be brutally honest. If Allah genuinely intended someone for you, you wouldn't have to fight your soul every day just to maintain the connection. You wouldn't lose yourself in guilt, secrecy, or anxiety, justify small sins by telling yourself Allah understands. Yes, Allah understands. But He also commands dignity, transparency, respect for His sacred boundaries. If you feel spiritually exhausted, emotionally trapped, morally compromised, don't call that love. Call it what it truly is: emotional addiction, attachment dependency, not divine guidance. And if letting go feels terrifying, that might be your proof right there. Sometimes the very thing you're most afraid to release is exactly what you need to let go of to heal. Real love, true guidance from Allah, will never leave you spiritually empty. Demand secrecy, require emotional compromise, force you into cycles of guilt and anxiety. Before you whisper again, "This must be a sign from Allah," ask yourself directly, would Allah truly guide me into something He Himself clearly forbids? The answer isn't hidden. It's right in front of you. Accepting that truth may be painful, but it's the first step toward the peace your heart has been begging for. I know hearing all of this may feel overwhelming, even painful, because deep down, maybe you already knew everything I've just said. But holding on to an illusion is always easier than facing reality. But trust me, acknowledging this truth today is far less painful than spending years trapped in a lie you keep calling love. Allah never removes something from your life without preparing something better in return. Even if right now it hurts you, feel empty, feel lost here. The truth, no one reminds you enough. Allah sees the entire picture you cannot see. He hears conversations you don't hear. He knows hidden intentions you cannot perceive. He understands hearts better than anyone, yours and theirs. When Allah closes a door, it's never to punish you. It's to protect you from a far greater pain you can't yet see. He reminds us again in His book, perhaps you dislike something that is good for you and love something that is bad for you. Allah knows and you do not know. Surah Al-Baqarah. Your emotions may not understand that today. Your heart may still ache and cling to hope. But trust Allah's wisdom more than your feelings. Trust His mercy more than your emotions. Because Allah isn't trying to break your heart. He's trying to save your soul. The Prophet Muhammad gave us this powerful comfort. You never leave something for the sake of Allah, except that He replaces it with something far better. Hadith? This isn't just a comforting phrase. It's a divine promise. The Prophet Muhammad gave us this powerful comfort. You never leave something for the sake of Allah, except that He replaces it with something far better. Hadith. This isn't just a comforting phrase. It's a divine promise. Yes, maybe you lost someone you thought was everything. Maybe your heart still hurts. But imagine what Allah must have waiting for you if He asked you to let go of something you were so deeply attached to. Today, choose to trust Allah's wisdom, even if your heart struggles to keep up. Today, place His promise above your fears and desires. Let's end this emotional journey with a simple but powerful dua. Say it deeply from your heart. And if you feel comfortable, comment it below to comfort someone else who might be struggling. Yeah. Allah, replace what I lost with something far better than I ever imagined. Comment this dua below. Like, share, and subscribe, because someone out there may desperately need this reminder. Helping one heart heal is helping the entire. H.Jazaklla. You care for trusting me with your heart today. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.